Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. I am your instructor Joy. Let me first play a tune for you. This was beginning of Air by Johann Sebastian Bach. Today I want us to talk about how one could work on continuous vibrato using Galamian's approach. But before I start, I would like to thank you all for your kind support, with your kind questions and comments, sending me donations here and also in my Patreon page, booking lessons with me and volunteering with your time. I really appreciate. So once we learn how to vibrate, then we have to use vibrato more than just one type. There are different kinds of vibrato: wide and fast, wide and slow, narrow and fast, narrow and slow, on and on. We have to use those to express our musical ideas. But once we do that, and we also have to know when to vibrate, when not to vibrate. We sometimes use senza vibrato without vibrato as a part of expressive tool. For example, here at the beginning, I started almost no vibrato, and then I gradually added vibrato to make a little crescendo kind of sound, or make it sound as though it's coming from nowhere. Sometimes we choose to do that, but it is also true that we sometimes stop vibrating involuntarily because we're changing the bow, or we're changing the note in using a couple note in one bow, which interrupts the musical phrasing and simply just technical problem that we have. And Galamian suggests 3 steps how we could fix that one. So we're going to review those and what it means and how we could fix those problems so that we can have continuous vibrato when we choose to, and when we decide to do not to do vibrate, senza vibrato, then let it be. So first one, he suggests that we start just in any finger, vibrating vigorously, very wide and fast, and then allow it slow down. Allow it to calm down, so to say, like this. Again, vigorously wide and fast, and allow it to settle, according to his words. But what it meant is more regular and more even. And then, like that. When I first read his approach, I didn't understand why he wanted to do that. Why can you not be small and narrow? Narrow and slow to fast one. To me, physically, it seems to be about the same approach. But then when I tried several times myself and with my students in my studio, I realized why. Basically, by moving fast at first, what we're doing is we're getting rid of the unnecessary tension in our hand, because that's the main cause of irregular vibrato or interruption of vibrato. So by shaking a lot, by making our arm to move wide and fast, we're kind of getting rid of unnecessary tension. Just like when we hold fist tight, when we move fast, ultimately in order to move fast, you have to shake off the unnecessary tension. That's the same idea. So that's why it's a great approach. So first, start really fast and wide and allow it to calm down, meaning allow it slower and narrower. And then once you have that one, that would be your vibrato, if that's what you're looking for. So now, for example, at the beginning of the air, so you could use that one. you're wondering, why can't I just practice small and narrow and slow vibrato from beginning onward? Because some people can do that right away, but if you're somewhat new or if you don't have complete control over your vibrato, when you start small and narrow vibrato from beginning on, your hand tend to be a little tense and therefore a little irregular. You can try that yourself, yeah? Just simply moving fast and then allowing to slow down. You're gonna see how relaxed the left hand could be, and then remember that feeling, and so that you can reproduce. Second approach of Galamian is continue vibrating at the bow change without diminuendo, without getting softer. So that's also a common mistake that I see with my students too. So here we start vibrating, but when we are at the end of the bow, the lighter part of the bow gets softer without wanting it, and the vibrato stops as well. Reverse happens too, because our both arms are attached to one spine. So when we slow down with the bow, because we have to slow down a tiny bit in order to have a smooth bow change. When we slow down with the right hand, the left hand slow down as well with vibrato, which we do not want it, with a small exception. So it's not about musical study, it's a purely left-hand technical study. So what you should do is just start from the middle, do bow change, but while you do bow change, make sure the vibrato stays just the same, as alive as fast. Very important that you do not get softer, meaning do not get lighter or slower bow speed. This is something that you should avoid. While you do bow change, keep the vibrato going, keep the bow weight and bow speed same, especially right at the bow change. Again, you can do the same thing from at the front up to the make sure the left hand stays same. It's a brilliant exercise. Of course, we don't always keep the bow speed, bow weight same at the tip of the bow or frog. But nevertheless, this fixes the problem of the left hand and give you a great control over your vibrato. Last one, which I totally agree, and this made totally sense from first time that I read his instruction, is try to vibrate multiple notes while you're playing slurs. Let's start in 2 notes, simple scale. So you want to do, let's see, you're playing E and F in one bow. Common mistake that I see is you vibrate the first one, but before you move the second one, you stop vibrating, and then after a little pause, you start vibrating the next finger, something like this. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that one, whether you're a violinist yourself or you're a violin instructor. The best way to fix it, and it works great with 99% of my students. So you first vibrate the previous finger. When you have next finger, leave both fingers on the string so that you can transfer the vibrato from previous finger to the next. Once you have the second finger or next finger vibrato, then lift up. Again, put the next finger, but do not lift up the previous finger yet. Vibrate both fingers for a short time. Once you settled it, then you lift up. So it goes like this. Both fingers. Again. Both fingers for a short time. I'm exaggerating the amount of time that I leave the previous finger on, but that's the concept, which you can use from your... Here I leave the second finger a little longer, short time I vibrate together, then lift up. On and on like that. Pieces like Bach Air is a typical example where we have to have continuous vibrato going on without any interruption. One could choose to change types of vibrato or with vibrato to without vibrato, but nevertheless it has to go with the music, with the musical phrase. Yeah, I hope you can try that one yourself and use as a tool for your musical expression. Happy violin playing. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.